has been solved. There's a lot of players to be involved, but there needs to be a regional platform. So it is with that that I wholeheartedly give this my support. You will have heard that there are some other municipalities that have chosen not to support it. I leave to them to make their own case. Their cases are not compelling to me. However, the CRD will consider all that input and make a determination about future moves on it. I think at this time it's not for us to concern ourselves that some municipalities have indicated a lack of support. It's up to us to come to grips with this. Sandwich, the largest municipality in the region, and take our role showing leadership on this initiative.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. I'm going to go to Councillor Brown and then Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too support this motion. It's been a number of years that the CRD has been trying to coordinate regional transportation. There was a real strong sense that with the regional growth strategy and then establishing a regional transportation service, the opportunity to apply for grants would be stronger because it would be a cohesive plan. If you look at the bylaw, you'll see a number of things put into the service. A lot of them we already do, but they're spread throughout other services like regional growth and parks. With this bylaw, you will actually create a transportation service. It'll all be in one area, and it'll be funded appropriately. So I think the business community and others in the region expect a regional transportation service. How this will roll out with the provincial government looking at transit and roads, we'll have to wait and see. But this bylaw really reflects currently a lot of the things we already do. So it's just really, I must say, that it's a way for us, one, to get efficient, two, to be able to have a stronger voice when we want to go forward with grants, because we can also say the regional growth strategy supports initiatives, and it's just a stronger voice than each of us going after dollars. Some of these bigger projects within the region require a bigger grant sort of application. So if you look at the trail network, I have to tell you that some of the dollars we have to spend to develop the trail that's along that rail corridor, we have to bring rail crossings up to the new standard, even though a train's not running, and that's a big impact on trail development that I don't think originally when we developed the network we were thinking of that type of dollar, and the government will not allow us to put in a basic crossing, and if the train runs then we'll upgrade it. We have to pay the full share. So there's a lot of things within this service that I'm really supportive, so I hope my fellow councillors will support it as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Murdoch.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased to support this as well. As Councillor Bryce pointed out, we've had the chance to support this in the past, in the recent past, and I'm hopeful we will find support here at the council table tonight. This is one of those challenging issues where everybody has a different vision about what we ought to be doing in order to sort out transportation, but I think we all start from the same place, and that's that we're not doing it well at the moment. This, in my view, is our best chance at speaking with a common voice in setting regional priorities, speaking for the 380,000 residents of this region who feel like their councils, their elected officials are maybe not listening when they express their frustration about trying to get around in this region. Here's our chance to speak with one voice. And as Councillor Brown pointed out, senior levels of government have told this region very clearly that it needs to have common priorities if it expects to find a partner in senior levels of government when it comes to funding some of these significant infrastructure investments. So I'm hopeful that this council will support this bylaw going forward, and I'm hopeful that it will find support in our neighboring municipalities so that this region and the residents of this region may get the answer they're looking for, which is, yes, we can get it together. And yes, we can set common priorities and speak with one voice. So I look forward to this returning to the CRD with support from its member municipalities, and I look forward to the future conversations with senior levels of government where we can come forward with a common voice.
Thank you. Councillor Haynes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I endorse what my colleagues have just said, and I won't repeat it, but I'll bring in some additional elements. As we move forward as a region, we will be adjudged on our ability to collaborate with other municipalities and through different levels of services, and collaborate with higher levels of government. It's true that the 380,000 residents of the region do feel that transportation is something that we're not doing well right now. And it's this approach, I believe, will help us get the answers that we need. This is a common priority, and I'm moved by some data I saw in my early time on council as the chair of Planning, Transportation and Economic Development, when Dallas Gislason presented to us employee and accommodation maps showing where people live and where they work is truly across the region. You have people working out at the airport, but living out as far as Souk. So the only way to address that is through a regional transportation system. And since this council's funded the South Island Prosperity Project, they now have moved forward on a number of levels, and there are 5 projects that they're looking at to go forward for a smart South Island grant. And transportation, regional transportation, a smart approach to regional transportation is the one that's moving forward. So this would be consistent with some of the best thinking on the economy, business and accommodation in the area. It's also consistent with our ability to address affordability of housing and living, working in the same area, and addressing greenhouse gas reductions by 2050. So it has all those things coming together, but at the core, it talks to our ability to collaborate as a region. And I do think that's where we're going to be judged, by our residents and our other levels of government. It gets my full support. Thank you very much for bringing this forward.
Councillor Harper?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I absolutely agree that transportation is a huge issue in this region. And I also believe that we need a regional transportation authority. And that is why I will not be supporting this particular recommendation, because I don't think it goes far enough, quite frankly. What it's supporting is what the CRD is already doing. And what we need is to... Whoa, sorry, that's okay. And I appreciate we need to move in baby steps, but it seems to me these are things that we already are doing and can do at the CRD, and what I would like to see is us get to that next step, where we actually have an authority that will not only do the studies that are outlined in this bylaw, but will have the ability to implement them on its own. And that's what's missing in this piece for me, and that's why I can't support it.
Councillor Ormond?
Thank you very much, Mayor. Like has been said, traffic and transportation has been an issue and becomes a bigger issue in our not just in our municipality, but in the region. And I'm pleased to support what we have before us. I always find it interesting, exciting when, as a community and even as a council, with that word unanimous, there's something about that word that indicates total support. But every once in a while, we don't get that unanimity, and at times we have to move on in spite of it. And I remember going back a few years, I was chair of the CRD Housing when the Housing Trust Fund was initiated, and I was totally against adopting it until everyone bought into it. And every once in a while, I'm pleased to say I was wrong. They adopted it in the following years. The other municipalities also bought into it, and I believe there's almost 100%. And I look at what we have before us tonight, probably won't be total buy-in, but I believe we have to start to move ahead on it. Thank you.
Thank you. I also sit at the CRD where we've been debating this for a long time, and I have to vote in line with the vote that I have cast at the CRD many times, because I have not seen new information coming forward that's given me cause to change my vote. But I'll start with a question for Director of Engineering, because I want to clarify something. There was an opportunity to ask questions before the debate started. But, I know this question's coming a bit out of the blue, but I want to just provide a little context for it. The provincial government is the highway authority, and that's legislated, it's an authority. And municipalities are the road authority. The CRD is actually a level of government that isn't going to be an authority after this bylaw is passed down to the CRD. So given those relationships and the legislation and the authorities, can you give us any insight how